for a moment so that we can have our smiling faces captured? There we go. Thank you, Lydia. Hi.
Currently unmuted.
Whoop.
My camera's busted up, unfortunately. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, Kathleen,
this is fun.
You can take a screenshot.
All righty, here goes. Boom. Done deal.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. No matter what time zone you happen to be in, welcome to Leaders Worldwide Online Toastmasters Club. I am Isaac, the Sergeant at Arms, and it looks like the guests all have a G in front of their name. And if you have a role today, please put that role in the title of your name. Club mission: we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Core values: integrity, respect, service, and excellence. Please welcome our president, Tala bin Hamid. Tala, you have the podium.
Thank you so much, Sergeant at Arms. Welcome everyone to this last meeting of Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club for the year 2022. And what a sense of accomplishment this is. I also shared last week, I'll also reiterate this week that the club is swimming against the tide. Believe it or not, most clubs in the world are doing that well. And Leaders Worldwide is one of the few clubs that is fulfilling all its targets, and it is growing relentlessly, for which the entire executive committee deserves thorough congratulations. We keep inducting new members at the rate of one every week or every 2 weeks, and believe me, that is incredible. And what new members we have? We have one like Lydia, we have treasures like Marlon, we have amazing people like Sumpa. I am truly overwhelmed, not by the numbers, but by the quality of people that we are attracting. And we are truly, truly grateful to all of you, everyone who has joined Leaders Worldwide, either as a member or even as a guest or a guest role player, because each and every one of you have played a great role. So we are in party mode now because this is the last meeting of the year. And you know what is the best time to have a party? Every time is the best time to have a party, as long as you have put in the hard work and you have earned your leisure. Leisure is nothing without being earned. We can choose to have fun and frolic all year round, but it won't be as enjoyable. So welcome once again to this meeting, and let's welcome our esteemed guests. So let's welcome, and yeah, so guest Alex Balish. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alex Balish. I'm from Metuchen, New Jersey, and I don't know what else you want me to talk about.
What brings you here?
I was driving along and Cynthia just pulled me into the meeting. No, I met Cynthia on Clubhouse, and we were talking about Toastmasters and TEDx, and it's interesting to me and love to be a better communicator. So I figured the only way to find out is by joining a meeting and seeing what you folks are all about. And that's me.
Well, thank you so much. We are honored to have you. And God bless Cynthia and God bless Clubhouse. Keeps bringing wonderful people to our club. Next, we have KC, guest KC. Would you like to introduce yourself? Guest Casey, are you there? All right, we can come back to you later. You will have another opportunity to speak, maybe in the table topics, who knows, or certainly at the end of the meeting. So with that, it's time to hand over the charge to someone very special. That someone is a source of motivation and kindness and unwavering optimism every time you interact with her. And what's more, she is one diligent VP education. She is the person who, at times, you are attached to the most as a member of Leaders Worldwide, and who bothers you the most as member of Leaders Worldwide. But that is part of her job. A VP education is nothing if not a nagging, bothersome club officer. So congratulations on that, Kathleen. And trust me, you are certainly not as bad as I am in my own club as the VP education. Congratulations on that as too. Everyone, please put your hands together for our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Kathleen Peel.
Thank you, our very dear, very accomplished president, 4 times DTM in 6 years or something like that. You are an example and a model to us all and an inspiration to me. The meeting theme is refining your purpose. And we just heard how from Talha, how it's done. It's by being present, being consistent, ever improving while not being perfect. So refining your purpose is the theme of the meeting. And let us go to have Talha put his timer hat on to describe his role.
All right. Thank you so much, VP Education, once again. As a timer, it will be my job to keep an eye out on the timings of the meeting, timings of the individual segments. And believe it or not, I've already contributed to the timing of the meeting by taking less than my allotted 7 minutes, which I always do. So great of me, right? So, but as a timer, it is my duty to keep everything on track, but it's not my duty alone. It is the duty of the speakers as well. So if you're a speaker and your speech is 5 to 7 minutes, I'll be showing green at the minimum time, yellow at the intermediate time, and red at the maximum time, which is 7 minutes. Similarly, for table topics, it's green at 1 minute, yellow at 1:30, and red at 2. For evaluations, it's green at 2, yellow at 2:30, and red at 3. And every time you see red, that means it is time to wind up your speech, and you have 30 seconds to wind up whatever you're doing. It will also be my job to keep an eye out on the overall timing of the meeting and work with the Toastmaster of the day to ensure, and everyone else, of course, to ensure that everything remains on track. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Thank you. And a reminder that Toastmasters clubs are all about providing a positive and supportive learning environment in which members, and for that matter, guests, learn about communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth every time we meet. Every time we practice, we are refining our purpose. We are learning about having a sense of timing, our own organization, and all the rest. That's what Toastmasters meetings are about. It's about learning and supporting together. Let's call on our grammarian, Sally Reyes, to describe her job and give us the word of the day.
Thank you, Kathleen. I always look forward to this moment when I can listen to your speeches, and I get to keep a record of unnecessary words, which would be and, so, but, and that would help to clarify in your speeches if you know where your habit is and how you can eliminate that and slow down on the worry part that kind of gives you a stretch. I also love to pick up your wonderful words. I take notes now and then because I think it's outstanding to grab those very unusual words that are so descriptive, and it stretches our vocabulary. So I keep track of those remarks, and our word of the day is clarity, which I thought related to our theme, to wipe away the confusion and obstacles to achieve a clear and simple path to your destination. Thank you so much. Clarity is it.
Thank you very much, Sally. I love clarity or clarify.
Yes.
Or anything related
to that word. Yeah, forgot to mention that.
It's an excellent word to keep in mind. Now I'll introduce the evaluator, who happens to be Kathleen Peel, to announce the path and the project and the timing for our first speaker, who is Shumpa Akhtar. She is in Presentation Mastery Level 2, and her project today is Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring, where she's going to present a speech about a time when being a protege, and she's going to share the impact and importance of having a mentor. And of course, she's not going to report on the content of this project. Shumpa Akhtar is a new professional speaker and a recent member of Leaders Worldwide. Lucky us. She is a legally blind business liaison with the Oklahoma Department of Rehabilitation Services, that is the DRS. She speaks, she trains, and she provides resources to businesses in order for them to hire people with so-called disabilities who are entirely able. They hire not for their disabilities, but for their abilities and their excellent contributions to the organizations. The timing is 5 to 7 minutes. And let us welcome and celebrate Shumpa Akhtar, my best friend and mentor, Shumpa Akhtar.
All right. Do you remember a time where you felt simply worthless to this world? I felt this way many times in my life. Whenever you feel that way, that's when you need that one particular person to come into your life and tell you that you can actually give something to this world or to yourself. I didn't start my school till I was 8 years old. This was the time, just not a challenge for me, but for the school at the same time. I was in the jeopardy of which grade should I belong to. I remember I was placed with the kindergartners, kids, where there were these small desks with tiny chairs I could barely fit myself into.
Ooh.
They have realized this isn't working out. Moving from kindergarten to first grade to second grade to my final stop to third grade. Even though still I was probably the tallest kid in that class, that was the turning point of my life where I have realized it is impossible to survive in school. This is the point when I came across my mentor, Kathy Denton. I still remember the day when I stopped myself on the doorway to that computer lab. In my head, I knew this is not where I belong. I'm not supposed to be here. I just completely stopped. I know I don't belong here, but I still want to be a part of it. At that point, I heard a voice. Shumpa Arthur, what are you doing over there? In my head, I'm going, oh no, I'm in trouble. I'm not supposed to be here. But let's pretend that I'm lost. So I pretended. I don't know where I need to be. What do you mean you don't know where you need to be? She slowly guides me to my computer desk. And I was like, okay, maybe I will just sit there and pretend that I know how to use this computer. I know it's all visual, I cannot do this. But she handed me the headset, and then she introduced me to this really cool software called Talking Typer. I was like, oh. And then I hear this voice, and then she put my finger into this home row key where she put these small sticker dots where your finger needs to go. So I immediately know where my finger needs to be, and that's where it needs to be. In my head, I imagine my keyboard to be, once I figure out the letter A, I'm like, okay, then it's gonna be the next B, But, it's like A, S, D, F, space. And I'm like, well, eventually I'll figure out. And if I press it, what ding, you did something wrong. I was like, oh, that is so cool. Let me explain to you, this software is not those fancy looking software with avatars, with the jungle and colorful vision, with the background music. You would think like people are saying like, find this missing letter and press it in your keyboard. No, it was simply blank screen, nothing on the screen. All you hear is this voice telling you what to type. But I was this happiest kid in the world where other kids are complaining, they don't want to do this, they hate this. They were surprised, even I was surprised that, dang, I can do this. Then she came up to me, sneaking over to my shoulder. See, you can do this. There's nothing that you cannot do. You have no idea what you can give to this world, to yourself. From that point, she followed me to all my math classes, all my art classes, every year, where I thought I couldn't do it, where other people thought she couldn't do it. She believed, she saw something that I had inside me that I could do. So I remember those days. Every beginning of the year, she would tag me to these classes. And then, those moments will come. She will sneak out and she would disappear on you. And I'm like, wait a minute, where did she go? Like, doesn't she not love me anymore? She doesn't want to protect me anymore. And I'll be like, why did you disappear? You are a grown, young, smart lady. You don't need me to protect you, to be there for you all the time. You are smart enough.
6 minutes.
So I was like, oh, I didn't know. Have you ever came across a point in your life where you had to say goodbye to your loved one or your mentor? Back in August 25th of 2022, you heard it correct, that's just a few months back, I had to say goodbye to her. I still remember that late afternoon, I was holding her hands between my palms.
From Armand Carrillo to everyone, Colin Powell explained. Some of us from the Estocolm variety is getting close better explained.
That moment came. I had to say goodbye to her and I wasn't ready. I still remember that day. I had to say goodbye to her.
7 minutes.
I remember I was holding her arms, her hand between my palms for more than an hour back. People were saying, she's gone, she's gone, she's gone. And I'm telling myself, no, she isn't. I can feel the warmth of her hand. She is there. She is there. Until I had to let her go. And then I realized that it's okay to let her go. You know those moments, right? Your mentor would sneak up on you. She would disappear, thinking that you can do this. You don't need them to be there all the time. And this is a permanent time that you have to let go. And you're an adult. You can survive on your own. And I wasn't ready to accept the fact that I have to let her go. It was tough. First 1 month, first several weeks, but then one day I woke up like, it's okay to let your loved one go. You need to remember that they are somewhere around you, proud of you for who you are. And you cannot give up at this point. If you give up, that means they're not proud of you, they're wasted all this hard work, all this time for who you are. So back of my head, I'm like, okay, I cannot give up. Otherwise, she will be not happy to see me like this. She is so proud of me with all the success, achievement that I have achieved so far. I cannot disappoint her. I need to keep going. I know in the beginning, I kind of slowed down. I wasn't giving my 100% or my 1,000%. I started to give my 1,000%, 100% every single day, even today, speaking to you all, because I know somewhere above me or maybe next to me, she is watching and she is proud of me. So it's okay to let them go, but we should not forget that they are next to us, somewhere watching us, proud of us at the same time. I want you to be investing in yourself, looking for that hidden gem inside you, just like my mentor found those hidden gems inside me. It's okay to let your loved one, your mentor, whoever it is in your life that made a huge impact in your life, to let them go. But it's not okay to give up in your life. And I think I learned the big challenge not to give up. Because if I'm going to give up, that means she failed. And I cannot let her fail. I need to move her legacy forward and not to give up and keep going for her, for all the people who believes in me, for all those people who I inspire. I cannot let those people give up in their life. Thank you.
Shumpa, thank you very much. I am so moved. I need 1 minute of silence to be moved here. Truly, that was a mic drop moment.
One minute's over.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. And now let's call on our second evaluator, Marlon Pareo, to announce the path and the project and the purpose and the timing of our second speaker, Lydia Norman.
Currently unmuted.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the meeting. Toastmaster Lydia is going to be doing the project, creating a speech with purpose. She has 5 to 7 minutes to do it. And the purpose of her speech is to create a speech where at the end, she will persuade us to do a particular thing. So, back over to you, Madam Toastmaster of the meeting.
Space.
Thank you, Mr. Evaluator. Lydia Norman is a passionate advocate for diversity in the workplace. She holds a Master of Business Administration with an emphasis in human resource management from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Being neurodiverse herself, her vision is to create a world where workplaces are productive and supportive for all employees, regardless of their variety of ability. Let us welcome Lydia Norman, Neurodiversity, Creating Productive Workplaces for Employees, Regardless of Ability. Neurodiversity, Creating Productive Workplaces for Employees, Regardless of Ability. Lydia Norman.
Thank you. Why is it necessary to have workplaces that support all employees regardless of their ability or disability? Well, let's think about the word disability. Disability. Does that not seem to imply that someone lacks ability or is incapable? As humans, we judge people. Look at me. What do you see? A woman of color. Some might say I'm attractive. But what you don't see is that I'm a mother, I am a grandmother, and I also have a superpower. I have autism. I have what is formerly known as Asperger's syndrome. What, you might say? But you don't look like you have a disability. Well, what does a person with a disability look like? Why do I call autism my superpower? Because I have abilities that allow me not to fit in just neatly into one little box with a bow on top. Because I can't be put in this nice little tidy little category, it's actually caused a bit of a problem for me in my career as an accountant. Why, you might ask? Well, what do you think of when I say an accountant? Bean counter, going through papers, going on the computer, poring over spreadsheets, going over reports. I did all that, and I did it well. But the problem was that I saw myself as an internal consultant for the business, one who would look at the details, but to see how they fit into that big picture and to help the business achieve such success. But that's not what my managers wanted. They wanted someone who would be content to be immersed down in all the details. It's kind of like this. I saw myself as that bald eagle circling in the blue skies above. Suddenly I see my target, a tasty fish, and I swoop down, grab that fish out of the water, and swoop back up into the skies above. But that's not what my managers wanted. They wanted a catfish, a bottom dweller, someone who is content to be submerged and stay in the middle of everything submerged. I couldn't do that. I wasn't capable of that. Well, not without accommodations. So let's give the eagle accommodations. Let's put some flippers on its sharp talons, goggles on its sharp eagle eyes, a pack on its back so it could stay submerged to have air. The eagle might be able to function in that environment, but is it really functioning optimally? And that's when we call it a disability. My vision is a world where workplaces, instead of expecting eagles to function like catfish, allow employees to choose the supports which help them to be successful, regardless of their ability or disability. How about we do away with the word disability and focus instead on our unique traits and abilities and contributions. True diversity includes diversity of thought, which I, as a person with autism, can bring. It's proven that businesses that embrace diversity experience all different types of benefits. Increase employee morale, increase profits, better and faster decision-making, greater creativity. And that's what happens when employees are able to use their unique traits and abilities to benefit the organization. And this is why it is so vital that we create workplaces that support employees regardless of their ability.
Thank you very much. How clear, how well you have clarified your purpose, Lydia. Let us have 1 minute on the clock.
1 minute's up.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. And before we break, we'll do the first two evaluations of the first two speeches. And Mr. Timer, would you give us just the quick demo of the timing for evaluations?
Sure. Evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes. So it's green at 2 and yellow at 2:30 and red at 3. And as always, you need to finish by 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. And I'll be giving Shumpa's evaluation. Shumpa, from the moment I met you, you speak and I listen. And that's not just my response. I've seen it in the club where there is a depth, there's an authenticity that is not performative. When you offer your nonverbal communications, it is authentic. It is, I wouldn't say riveting, but it is compelling. It calls my attention to you and your message. So I have seen in your few speeches, I have seen your progress in your nonverbal communication. And it is delightful how you've grown in these past few speeches is that you are more present, you're less afraid, you have more humor, you have more vitality, you have more delight and more affection for your audience. So all I can say about nonverbal communication is that you teach me how to really do it right. And that is not performative. It is some depth of clarity. You teach me about clarifying my purpose. And then what I can offer for development, for your next step, for you taking this very speech further about this mentor is organization, organization, organization. This is something that is gained with practice. And in particular, what I would suggest you might try is knowing that powerful ending. That ending took us, it lifted us into that moment of being on your own, holding on to your mentor, letting go, learning from your mentor. And know that that is what you want to leave us with. And maybe also that you want to leave us with those words about we don't want to lose the hidden gem in ourselves. We don't want to give up on ourselves. So you build backward and you eliminate, you cut and clarify. Marvelous speech, my dear, and thank you for the honor of being your evaluator. Now we'll call on Marlon Perea to evaluate Lydia's speech.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster of the meeting. Lydia, my camera is not working, so I would just like you to imagine that you're speaking to Denzel Washington because I look exactly like him. Lydia, I was literally stuck to my seat and stood bolt upright in my chair listening to your speech. It was powerful. You could have heard the passion in your voice. You knew that I don't want to mess with that woman. No, 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 no. And I do appreciate the fact that you have spoken about disabilities in a way that a lot of people who do not have disabilities don't know. A lot of people believe that people without disabilities don't understand people with disabilities, but sometimes people with some disabilities don't even understand other people with disabilities. For example, one time I was in a function for people with disabilities, and I sat on back to the table. The person next to me said, "What's your disability?" I said, "I'm blind." And she said, "Well, you don't look blind." I said, "Okay." And then I said, "What's your disability?" And she said, "I'm autistic." I said, "Really? You don't sound autistic." There's a whole lot of ignorance going around. But what you did show us is that there are things that you can see and there are things that you cannot see. And therein lies the challenge I have for you, Lydia. I believe that everything in your speech was wonderful. I would suggest, however, that the part that you spoke about with when you see me, what do you see? Put that at the beginning, at the very, very beginning. Because an opening, literally, you have to shock people into sitting up. You understand? So listen, look at me, what do you see? I had absolutely no idea, and I'm sure a lot of people did not know that you had autistic. And we can go into the whole nitty-gritty of the spectrum and so on, but that's apart from the point. But that part would have done wonderful at the opening. Your closing, when doing a speech with purpose, it is always good to be as
2 minutes
direct as possible. Say exactly what you want your audience to do. This is what I want to do. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. I want you to consider X, Y, Z, and so on. Be direct and be focused. I want that cookie. I want that chocolate, things of that nature. Once you have those things put in place, you'll be good to go. I believe that you should keep the speech.
2:30.
You should keep the speech. Do not get rid of it. And really, really wow us with that opening. Do not rob us of your awesomeness. Do not rob us, Lydia. And I think once you put these suggestions to bear, that you will become an awesome presenter. Madam Toastmaster of the meeting.
Good advice for us all, isn't it? Now we'll take a 5-minute break. So we'll come back at 49 minutes after the hour. When we will hear our next speech.
Currently unmuted.
Shumpa?
Hold on, audio now unmuted.
Yes.
You were awesome. Your vocal variety has gotten
Now in this
loads better. Loads better.
Thank you. This time I wasn't reading off of my Braille display that much, so I just went off of my memories.
Yes, it's a lot better. Now all I have to do now is book on the time. Do you have an Apple Watch by chance?
Yes.
Oh, well, I would suggest that when you're doing the speech, you can press the coin and set a timer for 7 minutes so that you know once your wrist vibrates, you have 30 seconds to settle up. How about that?
Oh, I didn't thought about that. Okay.
Yeah, that could work. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Simpa, I hope you could hear my timing prompts.
Yes, and I kind of knew I was going to be off of my time, so I just kind of.
No worries there. As long as you could hear them, and plus the kind of speech that you had. Honestly, if you ask me, I didn't mind the extra minutes. It's just that, you need to stick to timing in order to be contest ready, and we all must be contest ready all the time. But again, I would second Marlon here. It was absolutely fantastic. the amount of passion that you managed to put into your speech, it was astounding. And never for a minute did we feel that you were not talking to us in person right there with us. So congratulations. Very few speakers managed to transcend the screen across which we are speaking. So absolutely fantastic job. Congrats.
Thank you.
Now, the other thing
Honestly,
is,
this was my hardest speech because it's still fresh in my mind because I had it's only been several months, so I wasn't sure how I was gonna do. So I was like, today I'm like, forget about the timing. I will get it done much as I can.
yes. No, that's you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable, because vulnerability leads
Yes.
to credibility. The more vulnerable you are, the more
It's
credible you are. However, that
It's a
idea
great-
when you watch Sumpa, I am not sure if that's going to fly for contests though. Because I think they're going to
Yes.
say that you've got an unfair advantage. So do it for meeting,
Exactly.
but for contest,
And
not so much.
and next time you decide not to care about timing, don't tell anyone about that. Just keep it to yourself. But but you know what? Like I would once again second Marlon here. Like it takes great courage to be vulnerable, contrary to what we are taught all the time, that we need to keep a poker face, we need to guard our emotions, we need to not be vulnerable. That's cowardice. That's like hiding yourself, like burying your head in the sand. What takes real courage is to let it all out and put it all before us. So absolutely fantastic job there.
Honestly,
Absolutely. And your
honestly, I
courage was
feel-
amazing. What was that?
Honestly,
Well, as if Lily was there.
I am saying that I didn't care about the time, but every time that Tala was saying like 5 minutes, 6 minutes,
Yes.
I was like, dang it, I'm not even done. But I'm like, okay, I'll wrap it up. And I'm like,
Well, might I suggest to you, you could do a keynote. You could do a
Yes.
keynote on this,
20
and
minutes.
I will provide you with the slots, because I'm looking for keynote speakers 24/7. So yeah, you can easily turn that into a wonderful keynote. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
Is Lydia still there?
yes.
Lydia?
Yes.
Yes, Lydia. Yes. Front and center. I would also suggest if you just interpose a little tiny bit of humor, that'd be wonderful as well. Like, for example, when you look at me, what do you see? Some say I'm attractive. I would have included, but I know I'm just gorgeous.
Oh, I love it. And actually, that was my favorite part when she was like, what do you see in me? I'm like,
Yes, because these are things that people don't see. Are you aware that there are companies that only hire people with dyslexia because they are wonderful coders?
No.
Yeah, because they read things back to, but when they learn to read things the correct way, they still remember to learn to read. They still remember the other way they were reading. So because how with code, they have to go up and down, left and right, right and left, they are more likely to find discrepancies in computer code than other people. So you can't say say
5 minutes are over.
Oh,
5 minutes are over.
all right, I have to go to court. Everybody, bye.
Thank you.
Sorry for being a joy.
Thank you, Mr. Timer, for keeping us sharp. Let's call now on our, we know the timing for evaluation, so let's just call on our third evaluator, Cynthia Stott, to let us know the project goals for our third speaker, Isaac.
Oops. Great. Thank you, Kathleen. Isaac is speaking from the Presentation Mastery Pathway, and he is on level 3. Connect with your audience. And the purpose of this project for the member to practice the skills needed to connect with an unfamiliar audience. The member is completing this project is practicing the skills needed to connect with an unfamiliar audience. To do this, the member presents a topic that is new or unfamiliar to your club members. Listen for a topic that is unusual or unexpected in your club. Take note of the member's ability to present the unusual topic in a way that keeps the audience engaged. This speech is not a report on the content of the project. So welcome, Isaac,
Thank
for his
you.
amazing presentation.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. And Isaac is giving a speech about the benefits he's received from walking. It's lowered his stress. He has lost weight. He's become healthier overall. Let's welcome Isaac Ford with Mrs. Allen. Isaac Ford, Mrs. Allen.
I was 25 years old when I met Mrs. Allen. She lived across the street. We never really talked or spoke personally, but every day I would see her just walking past my house. She would remind you of a Venus Williams. She was athletic, energetic, and youthful. At the time, I was working at the Producers Writers Guild. That job stressed me out. I could not even get to work on time because in the morning, I would have to roll out of bed because my back hurt so bad. The only good thing about that job was that it was an hour's drive to work. So I would listen to audiobooks. One morning, I'm listening to this audiobook, and they were talking about the benefits of deep breathing. They told you how deep breathing can lower your stress level, change your attitude, and just make you feel better. So I thought I could try that right now. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I pulled over to the side of the road thinking I need to call 911. But eventually, I calmed down. When I got to work, I had made up my mind that I was going to start walking. On my lunch break, I would walk everywhere. Eventually, it started feeling good to walk. And in fact, I started getting up an hour early just to go walking before I went to work. The next thing you know, I don't dislike my job. People are starting to not get on my nerves. I was starting to really enjoy it. So one morning, my wife, JoJo, suggested, honey, I need to lose a little weight. Would you come with me to Weight Watchers for moral support? I thought, yeah, Joe, you really could lose a little weight. Now, I did not say that out loud. I just thought that. So when we got to Weight Watchers, the first thing that they do is they weigh you. Now, at this time, I had been married 5 years. On my wedding day, I weighed 150 pounds. So when I looked at that scale, 222 pounds, I realized I had been tricked. JoJo didn't need to lose the weight. I was the one to lose the weight. Actually, on my wedding day, my Aunt Bert gave me some great advice. And she said, Isaac, one thing you need to remember, a woman can outthink a man 5-1. JoJo outthought me because she knew if she would have just said, you need to lose weight, I never would have went to Weight Watchers. The thing that Weight Watchers teaches you is keep a food journal. And the second thing is to change your diet and drink lots of water. And the third and most important thing is exercise. Now, I had started walking, so the exercise part for me wasn't hard at all. But once I changed my diet, that weight melted off me like hot popcorn butter. Now, I know there are some people who really can't walk because it's just hard, and exercise is a big chore. And I remember this speech that I heard from Don Johnson, the 1989 International Speech winner. And he talked about this exercise tool that he had found. He said it looked like a block of wood. And what he would do is he would place that block in the middle of the floor and just walk around it twice, and then get back into bed. And he would say people always came up to him and asked him, what are you doing? You look so healthy. What is your secret? And he said, well, the first thing that I do when I get up is I walk around the block twice. Now, I'm retired now. That was over 50 years. I still walk. I walk every day. So as a result, I know my neighborhood and I'm always everywhere. I recently got stopped by the police. The officer said, you're wondering why I stopped you. Well, I just want to thank you. Because of you, I have lost 10 pounds because I see you walking everywhere. So you motivated me to start walking. The spirit of Mrs. Allen lives on in me because she inspired me to start walking. And if nothing else, I want you to get up and start walking because it can lower your stress, it can maintain your weight, and it could help you to stay healthy and youthful. If nothing else, just walk around the block twice. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
You know what I'm going to be doing right after this meeting, don't you?
You always do it.
And I'm always inspired by Mr. Isaac Ford.
Yeah.
We'll have 1 minute of silence.
One minute over.
All right. Well, our District Director Carolyn Davis sends her regrets. She has been called away and cannot deliver her speech. And so that means we'll just pop right in to Cynthia's evaluation of Isaac's speech. Cynthia.
I thought we were going to go to table topics first, like usual. I think that's on the agenda.
Would you like that? Okay.
Is that on the agenda? Please, thank you.
All right. Now, what we might do is to ask our president, what would you think of leading the conversation and asking perhaps the question about how our guests refine their purpose or how they clarify their voice? What do you think? Talha, would you care to lead us as the table topics master?
All right.
Or
so you mean it's an impromptu session, right?
Yes,
So,
we
all
don't
right.
have a table topics master, so we
Sure.
can.
All right. We have, I don't know, I don't think we have any guests, so we'll just move around the room, if that's okay with you.
Have we lost our
I
guest?
think we do
he
have a
just
guest.
dropped off.
Do we have Alex? Oh, he did.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I can go whenever we're ready, but I think to have table talks first is great.
Yeah, sure. Let's have the table topics, and let's go around the room then. All right. So, okay. So give me a few seconds to think up a few topics. But yeah, it's all about finding a purpose. One of our Toastmasters colleagues, a very dear member, he says, and he uses this example about his mother-in-law, and but he says that no person and nothing in this world is completely useless. Anything can be used as a bad example. So that's what he says. So today's table topics is all about finding our purpose. And we all have different purposes in life. And we may even have multiple purposes. And in fact, this is the season for new purposes, because we are all so fond of making New Year's resolutions. The turn of the calendar provides us with redefining our lives and looking back at the year that was. And I believe that for some reason, I don't know whether you feel the same way or not, but 2022 is one of those years that would not be gone soon enough in terms of the bad. Yeah. Yes, it brought a lot of good to all of us, but it also brought a lot of tragedy, a lot of suffering. So let's go to let's go to someone who's not expected to be given a speaking role. Sally Reyes, you go first. Yeah. So Toastmaster Sally.
Yes.
Let's look back. Yeah. So let's look back at your life, and one thing that you sought, that you've achieved spectacularly, what would it be? The one thing. I know it must be many, but just one thing that you'd like to highlight.
Well, thank you. It's a broad spectrum of lessons that I have received in many different directions. So I'll pick music. I loved singing as I grew up, and I didn't do things well alone. So joining a chorus was very important. And I love the inspiration that we brought to people as high school kids. And after that, I started college and I signed up for opera lesson in a class. And I practiced. I knew a song forwards, backwards, and I got on that stage and looked out at this massive empty room with just the judges sitting around. And the pianist started and just raced through the thing on the piano, and I never elicited a note. Nothing came out of my mouth. It was so fast and I was so unprepared. I thought I was prepared, but I just went totally blank. And that has kind of followed me for years because I'm a little afraid of making mistakes. And so I avoid speaking up. But that was a lesson that I followed into my years of after retiring. I found a teacher in San Francisco and took lessons from an opera singer who was from Russia through South America and taught me for free if I just show up, because I could carry some of those notes people couldn't do. And we sang at every retirement home that you could find throughout San Francisco. And I think I was with that group for 10 years. And when we showed up, I noticed the guys weren't dressed well enough. So I started improving, dressing up a little bit as if we were on a big stage. And I noticed that every one of those people started changing how they looked. And the people who couldn't leave their retirement homes were thrilled at the performances that we gave. And to this day, I'll never forget it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sally. That was a beautiful story, and it makes me wonder why we see you as a speaker so rarely. We need to hear you more. So amazing story. Really, it was a whole life story packed into 2.5 minutes. So absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for that. And yes, music has that strange power to somehow support you in crucial parts of your life, right? Some song that gets stuck in your head, and somehow some lyric that really serves as a guiding light. So I believe we all have, if we all wanted, our lives could have been defined by various songs that we heard throughout the stages in our lives. So next, how about taking on our speaker, Lydia? Toastmaster Lydia, are you ready? All right.
I'm ready.
All right. So I need you to once again think about your life and clarify something that you used to value a lot when you were a child or a teenager, but when you grew up, you no longer think it's significant. Any thought, any idea, any object, any person that you really put at the top of your priorities earlier, but now no longer.
All right. Thank you for the question. When I was a child, well, I never really fit in. And I always tried to do my best to fit in, whether it was being in chorus or playing football with the guys or singing with my family. I always wanted to fit in. But learning about my autism, my neurodiversity, I learned about why I never managed to fit in. And I figured out I'm not supposed to fit in. So I have embraced my not fitting in. And I'm actually changing it so that not only can I embrace more so of who I uniquely am, but I can also help all the other weirdos like me embrace who they are. Thank you.
Wow, what an insight we got here. Yeah, who cares about fitting in? Why should we fit in? Fitting in is for losers. So yeah, I never fit in. I was and am a proud nerd. And what I did was, instead of fitting in, I surrounded myself with nerds. So congratulations, everyone. So, but all right. How about our VP Education, Kathleen? Are you ready? All right. So Toastmaster Kathleen, in our Toastmasters journey, we end up overseeing the destiny of so many Toastmasters. So how do you think it aligns with your greater purpose in life?
Thank
If
you.
it does.
Thank you for the question, President Timer and Table Topics Master Talha bin Hamid. Yes, everything aligns when I choose it and when I put it in its proper place. Everything aligns with the unfoldment of my purpose, the unfoldment of my talents, the contribution of my talents to enrich my personal life and to enrich my world. The way my job as VPE does that is varied. It's multiple ways. What I'm learning now is something that a client taught me. A certain client practices Aikido, and she told me about how Aikido has taught her to deflect or to convert conflict and challenges and attacks in such a way that she continues on her purpose. And so she takes the energy that might come her way that would start as conflict, and she does her little moves, and she continues on her way. So that's a great lesson. Whoops, I said an I better say clarify just to make up for it, right? To focus on what really matters. And later we'll talk about how we all are part of a team and we all fit into a system so that the club moves along and serves us all. Thank you, Talha.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Kathleen. And yes, for those of you, for those of us who haven't had a leadership role, the most rewarding thing about it is not the title, nor the accomplishments. It is the sense that you start having after some times and that you are contributing towards changing this world one life at a time. And if you put your heart into it, indeed, you will change people's life. And I can imagine no greater privilege and honor than being able to do that. So next, I'll call on stage DTM Cynthia. Cynthia, are you there?
Oops. I'm here.
All right, of course you are here. So Cynthia, recently I read a comment on Facebook and Toastmasters International Facebook, where a page I almost never visit except when I have to post, because it's worse than YouTube's comment section most of the time. And recently I read a post. Someone, a Toastmaster, an experienced and senior Toastmaster, said that maybe the art of Toastmastering and public speaking is relevant only to those people and organizations who think it's important. What do you have to say about that?
You read the post.
They need to.
What was,
Yeah.
can you
I
say
read
again?
this post, and they essentially said that, we are trying to tell everyone that public speaking and communication is important, but we should not preach this to everyone. We should only reach out to people who already think it's important.
That already think it's important. I think that's key. Awesome. Awesome. I love that post and that answer. And I think that's why we've gotten most of our recent amazing new members from Clubhouse. Sampa and Shumpa and Lydia are from Clubhouse. And so they already know the power of speaking. Because on Clubhouse, you don't post pictures, you don't post a diatribe of text, you only speak. And on Clubhouse, you can realize how important speaking is and how much more you need to speak importantly and concisely. Because on Clubhouse, especially, people hate diatribes that go on and on and on. You have to be quick, you have to be precise, and you have to be impactful. And clarity is utmost importance. So I think people on Clubhouse already know the importance of communication. And I think whoever posted that in the international Facebook page that has 28,000 members worldwide, I love that page, that group. They really got the answer right. Because at least in America, more than 50% of the clubs have around 8 members or less. And they focus just on table topics. They don't want to do pathways. They don't want to do prepared speeches. Many times they're retired and they just want to get with their friends and chat. And that's great. But it's not a club. It's not a club. And I'm thinking of Lydia and her desire to speak so much that she's willing to speak 4 speeches in 5 days. I have never heard of anyone who spoke that many speeches, and they're not even just speeches that it's the same one again and again. She's talked on her leadership. She talked on her communication. It's phenomenal. So I absolutely agree with that post. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, President, and Timer. You wear all the hats today.
Well, it's fun wearing all these hats. And thank you so much. And yes, it's always a debate. Rather, we have limited time and energy, whether we should focus it on converting people towards the idea of communication and leadership skills. Because believe it or not, unlike in North America, here in our neck of the woods, many people need to be convinced that why is this important to you? And versus reaching out to people like Lydia and Sumpa who already realize. So you have to strike that balance. I would say that, we should continue to reach out and convert new people to the discipline as well. But the efforts expended towards people who already know the importance, they yield more results and they're more worth our time, because after all, we only have one brain and 24 hours, right? And speaking of 5 speeches in 4 days, I know of one more person. It's our member, DTM Sarfraz. He has been World Championship semi-finalist twice in the 90s, right? And he is a 5 times DTM, and yet he completed all 11 pathways in little more than 1.5 years by speaking around the clubs, different clubs, and different speeches. And he's been completely honest with it. Why do I know that? Because he lives in Texas. And whenever he's about to make a speech, since I'm the VP Education, he reports to me that DTM Talha, I'm about to make this speech, which will be project this of level this. And after this, I'll send you the application and you can approve it. So he has that trail. He even keeps a record of who evaluated him and what did they say, each and every speech. So the brilliant thing is he has no reason to do that. But once you get the bug of speaking, and that's what I keep saying to everyone, and I also agree with you, DTM Cynthia, that Toastmasters is not a social gathering. It is not Netflix. In fact, I did a training with District 21 about club coach and club mentorship and club sponsorship. And I wrote this on a slide that you're not Netflix, so don't try to compete with them. Like if you want to have fun and games, if you want to entertain, there are better options and they will keep you engaged for longer. So it's about education first. And on the side, while being educated, if you are being entertained, if you're having fun, perfectly fine. But education should come first. And that is why in our club, we cannot think of a meeting in Leaders Worldwide. We can't think of a meeting which does not have a speech. And why is that? Because members are motivated. They think that in order to make the meetings useful, they need to speak. And we have to keep that flame alive because trust me, in the current climate, I can relate to the scenario that you painted because in our district too, there are some clubs who are struggling, but they're struggling in a different way. They are struggling to enlist prepared speakers, and that's why they're struggling to hold meetings. So at least the thought is there that, if we will have meetings, if we will have speeches, only then we'll hold a meeting. So yeah, let's hope for the best. And next, okay, I'll call Shumpa, Toastmaster Shumpa. Are you there? Okay, we can come back to you later. We have Cassandra, Toastmaster Cassandra. Are you ready for a table topic?
The audio now unmuted.
Did someone say my name? Sorry, I was eating.
Oh, no worries.
Okay.
No worries. So would you like to answer a table topics question?
Oh man. I should have been quiet. Okay, I will take the attempt. I won't be great at it, but I will try.
No worries at all. You don't need to worry about a thing. So, okay. So since the theme is around refining your purpose, which is the theme of our meeting, my question to you, Toastmaster Shumpa, is what is the wildest and the grandest purpose that you can think about of your life and your pursuits? What is the biggest thing you can imagine yourself doing in terms of service and in terms of changing the world? Because you know what, I'm inviting you to imagine it.
Video now started.
When you will imagine it, you will one day do it. So what is it?
The wildest thing, and I still do imagine myself doing, is paragliding. I think it's the craziest thing, but there is a fear of height in me. And then at the same time, I know I cannot see the gap between how far the height is between the lowest level versus how high you are. So I think it's all the fear that is built up inside us. Most of the fear is just our inner fear more than what it exactly is. So I want to fight my fear of heights that I cannot really see So that is one of my do lists that I really want to do. And I told my parents about it. They're like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, yep, I want to do that. I want to
1
fight
minute.
my fears. So I think that's the wildest thing that I want to do as a blind person. I want to paraglide. I want to float around the air because I love wind. And I want to fight my fears. So, yes, that's me. My wildest
Wow.
thing I want to do.
Wow, that's brilliant, Toastmaster Shimpa. And you know what? You have an advantage because I also have a fear of heights. And trust me, if you cannot see, that is the best thing you can imagine. I mean, seriously, the fear comes from seeing. So yeah, go ahead and do it. All right. Thank you so much. And you know what? You are destined for paragliding and much greater things, as long as you can imagine them. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, who would like to go next? Okay, we have Toastmaster Cassandra. Toastmaster Cassandra, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, all right. So would you like to answer the table topics question?
Sure, I would have loved to have that question that someone had.
All right. All right. So, of course, our table topics today is themed around refining your purpose. So, Toastmaster Cassandra, my question to you is, do you find yourself collecting objects, peoples, and memories just for the sake of it, only to find later that they don't serve any purpose at all? Does this happen to you? And what do you do about it then?
No, no, I don't, because everything that I do is with intention. So the things that I collect with the purpose. And those things that no longer serve me, I get rid of. So the things that I collect, I have with the purpose. And the things that I collect are antiques. The things that are, so they're antiques, they're objects that mean things to me. And the things I tend to, my husband says I'm a hoarder. But they mean something to me. They're the things that of my mother's. My mother has since passed on. So there are things that she had that mean something to me, like her sewing machine, or there are things that her hairbrush. There's things of that nature, her jewelry, things of that nature. They may not mean anything to him. They may not mean anything to other people, but they're precious to me. So in that respect, they're collectibles to me. If there's things that no longer serve me, such as clothing, they may be collectibles in that sense, that are fashion, that do not serve me anymore, then in the sense that are collectibles, but I do not want them anymore, then I would pass them on. I will get rid of things like that. But other than that, collectibles, such as I would say like vases or artwork, I collect things of that nature. But my husband's like, get rid of it. Why do you hold on to things like that? One man's junk is another one's,
Right. Treasure.
treasures. Exactly, Sally, treasures. So that, in that respect, President, I would say that it means something to me. Back to you, Tabletop Snatcher.
Thank you so much. And yes, isn't that the greatest dilemma? Because in some way, we are all hoarders. And that's why I asked this question. We collect relationships, we collect memories. And as I grow older, I realize that even our brains have limited capacity. Like we used to think that we can store whatever like we experience and recall it at any point in time, but that does not happen. You have to rely on, and you have to cut down on things you have to store here. And that, takes me to the Harry Potter series. And Dumbledore had this device called the pensieve, where he used to extract excess memories from his brain and store it in the pensieve. So I could so much relate to it because yes, your brain also is finite and it has only limited capacity. Can you imagine that today, while preparing a document, I actually wanted to write the name of immediate past district director of District 122, and it took me 10 minutes to recall who it was. So yeah, that's what happens when you have too much going on, because for those of you who don't know, it is myself. So yeah. So when you have too much going on, you don't feel it, but it does affect your performance, your day-to-day life, and your short-term memory. So next, I'll be going towards our last table topic speaker because I believe we have time. Table topics, sorry, journal evaluation was supposed to start at 12:41. We still have 7 minutes, 8 minutes till that. So yeah, Toastmaster Isaac Ford, are you there?
Yes, I had to try to let my dog out. She's got to go to the restroom.
All right, no worries.
Talha, would you care to answer? Oh, here he's back. Go ahead.
Okay.
All right. So Toastmaster Isaac, you're well aware of the theme today, right? And you also today told us about in your speech, your speech was an inspiring story about finding a new purpose and then pursuing it. So what do you aspire to do in the near future that you have never done before? Is there a new purpose that you look forward to? If there is, please let us know.
Thank you for that question, Tala. Actually, I have two things that's been on my mind to talk about. And one of them is prostate cancer, because there are so many people, men, that have prostate cancer that really don't have to die from it. So my purpose that I've actually taken on, that I want to do, which I do with people that I meet, is I tell them my journey with prostate cancer and how a simple thing like getting to the right support group can change everything with cancer. So that's a purpose that came to me just because of all the things that I think about and I want to get off my mind. So that's one purpose that I talk about. In fact, I want to start writing a speech about that. And then I guess the other thing, which is really a problem, and I'm focusing not so much on Black men, but just people in general. And then the other thing that I really want to talk about is mental illness, because that is a big issue in my community, but I'm sure it's a problem in a lot of communities. And that's something that, you know, I think I could talk about also. So those are the things that is in my mind to just tell your story, my story, and hopefully somebody will get the lesson that I got so they don't have to make that same mistake. Back to you, Tala.
Thank you so much. And yes, Toastmaster Isaac, one of the strangest things about Toastmasters is that it manages to not only give your life a purpose, but it manages to add several causes to your life without you even knowing it. For example, over the past few years, I've started deeply caring about certain things, the value of kindness and humanity, like and also one of the life-changing books that I read, The Uninhabitable Earth by David E. Wallace. And he tells us about what's going to happen to this earth in 20 years, 30 years, and 100 years. And that led to the establishment of Quantum Leap Toastmasters Club. So not only you find yourself, using this platform for various positive causes, but you also end up doing things about them. So that's the magical thing about Toastmasters. It was lovely, everyone, to hear about your purposes, your new purposes, your old purposes, and things with a lack of apparent purpose as well. Thank you so much, everyone. And I hand over the charge back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, Catherine.
That was quite a rich session, impromptu, Mr. President, Timer Table Topics Master. Thank you very much for leading us through that. And we have our last evaluation for our speaker number 3. So let's welcome Cynthia Stott to the virtual lectern.
Great. Isaac, that was an amazing and delightful speech. You were just so engaging. Your vocal variety was really focused on storytelling, and your eye contact was great. You really looked into the camera. Sometimes you look down and that kind of distracted from it, but you could absolutely, if you hold your gaze with us, that will really impact us even more. Fabulous. It was wonderful. You had humor, you had inspiration, you even had a little bit of a twist with that walk around the block. That was hilarious. What I would have loved to seen, and what I would like you to consider for a stretch goal, and it's totally up to you, because it's vulnerability. And that can be so difficult. You know, Sumpa talked today about the vulnerability in her speech, talking about her mentor. That was a huge stretch goal for her. I think that you could add the stretch goal of sharing possibly how your walking supported you during your grief process as you lost your wife to cancer. How it impacted you, comforted you, whatever it did. Or maybe it was a challenge for you to move, because I know after I lost my husband, moving was difficult. It took me an hour and a half to cook breakfast, simple toast and eggs. But if you can share with us that vulnerability, that piece of your life, of how it transformed you, or how it comforted, how it gave you motivation to keep going, this would make your speech even better. And it's definitely worthy of your international speech contestant speech, as well as your TEDx speech. And it's an idea worth spreading, because your foundational phrase was get up and start walking. That's wonderful, powerful. And you could make it even more powerful by repeating that sentence, that foundational phrase, throughout your speech, beginning, middle, and end. And then adding some questions for the audience. What's stopping you? What do you need to get up and walk around that block? What do you need to help you get through a difficult time? Being able to think differently and feel differently and breathe differently. And I love the way that you shared with us your challenge with deep breathing and how you could then eventually walk and breathe. It was a beautiful, wonderful speech, and I want to hear it the next time. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. And again, an evaluation that we can all absorb and use for our development. Let's now call on our timer to tell us how we did with our timing. Talha?
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster/General Evaluator. So we are making excellent time with the meeting today. We are ahead of schedule as we speak. Today, our speakers, Toastmaster Shimpa Akhtar, went on for exactly 11 minutes, and we all agreed that, while not 1 second of those 11 minutes was a burden on us, but that's not how you win contests. So yeah, be a little careful there. Toastmaster Lydia spoke for 5 minutes, 40 seconds. And to her, I would say that you could have spoken for at least a minute more very safely. Your speech could have been even richer. So it's not my job to evaluate. I'm just suggesting that, you had adequate margin to add something even better to your speech because it was already so engaging and amazing. You can, only if you feel like it, only if you feel that you could use some additional content. And Toastmaster Isaac Ford, professional as usual, 6 minutes and 54 seconds. So about the perfect length for the speech. Then there were the evaluations. Kathleen took 3 minutes, 23 seconds, perfectly summarized. Marlon took 2 minutes and 53 seconds. And Cynthia took 3 minutes and 13 seconds. So all perfectly within time. About the table topics, Sally took 2 minutes and 39 seconds, so 9 seconds above the allowance. Lydia took 1 minute and 15. Kathleen took 2 minutes and 30. Cynthia took 2 minutes and 31. So yeah. Shilpa took 1 minute and 23. Cassandra took 3 minutes and 20. And Isaac took 2 minutes and 4 seconds. So that's my report. Over to you, Madam General.
Thank you. Thank you, Talha. You really do help me to get a bodily sense of timing and how to ride the flow of time and keep on my purpose. Let's call on our grammarian, Sally, to tell us how eloquent we were, how well we used our word of the day.
Thank you. I'm not sure very many of us said it. I caught it twice. Cynthia, and I have Phil. I'm not sure who Phil is, but that's the name I have. My favorite words were immersed, catfish, and convert. I thought those had purpose and power. And that's what we're all about, to recognize words are powerful and how we make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you. That was eloquently spoken, Sally. And a few of us did use the word of the day, and good for us. To wrap up a little bit about the evaluation of the meeting, what we did marvelously is to ride the waves. We took what came and we followed our purpose. And I would say we refined our purpose, which is the whole name of the game of a Toastmasters meeting. Furthermore, I think that we clarified our thoughts bit by bit as we proceeded. We had this tiniest number of attendants ever, I believe, and that makes it more intimate. And we stepped up and took roles and handled what came. So good for us. And what I hope is that we have fun so that we want to come back. With that, I'll put on the VPE hat and share my screen and show how we can go to the agenda of our choice and sign up for roles. We can click on the name of the role and open to the description of our role and say, I want that job. We can also, we need to edit through that because not every part of that description would belong to our club. We are an online club, for instance. But I want, as team members, I want us all to get used to letting the system automate our cooperation so that we all are doing our part and we are distributing the load is the point. Then in the left column is where we can confirm our attendance. That's very good for the rest of the club so that the rest of the club knows we can count on you. And so with that, I'm just showing you what you can do in our club administration site, Easy Speak. And we have a full slate for January 9th at this same time frame. So I want to ask folks who would like to volunteer for a role. Talha, hello, thank you. Talha, what role would you like to play?
Well, perhaps a speaker and any other role that, needs to be taken up if no one else
Thank
takes.
you. Very good. I'm excited already to hear you speak. I'll ask you for help later for what else we might need. Is there anyone else who would like to volunteer?
Yeah, this is Isaac. I can be the general evaluator.
Okay. Thank you very much, Isaac. And I wonder who might like to be the grammarian.
I can speak up.
If I can use my privileges as president, I would sincerely request Toastmaster Sally not to take up grammarian this time and be a speaker, because today your speech was lovely and we'd love to hear you speak, if it suits you.
Okay.
Oh, wonderful.
Wow.
Oh, I only asked Sally, I believe it was yesterday, but I don't have the golden voice. So thank you very much, Talha. Thank you very much. Sally, we'll work on that, shall we? And that's just wonderful. And anyone else, would anyone else like to step up and take a role? There is the timer. There is the Toastmaster of the day, and maybe we could work on the specifics for that role. There are evaluators, and there are speakers.
The audio now is muted.
I could do another speech.
Wonderful. Thank you, Shumpa. All right. Would you care to do an evaluation also?
Yeah,
Let's wait till
challenge
after.
myself.
Let's wait till after the contest is over to challenge yourself that way. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You and Lydia can give a little space for that. That would be
Okay.
great.
Take it easy and keep in your groove. All right. And we do have one more speaking slot in case any of our newer members would like to hone up and step up.
Wonderful way to practice for your contest test speech.
I will speak again.
Wonderful. Okay.
Level
All
3
right.
for both Lydia and Shumpa. Level 3. Woohoo!
Okay.
That's
Excellent.
fantastic.
So we're going to need lots of evaluators. Cynthia, would you like to step up to be an
Sure.
evaluator?
Sure. And who else is speaking?
We have Talha, we have Sally, we have
Okay.
Shumpa, and we have Lydia.
Maybe Talha would do a evaluation when he's speaking. No?
We'll
Yes,
call
no?
on. We need a lot of role players here, and
Mhm.
Mr. Talha is good at everything. So I would like to see if I can recruit some evaluators and see what roles are left open. All right, well, that is my part, and I would like to turn it back over to Mr. President, who took off his timer's hat.
Yeah, thankfully, finally. So thank you so much, Madam VP Education. And once again, congratulations on nabbing so many roles. I would just like to make a teeny tiny suggestion. And again, it's just a suggestion. You can take it or leave it. But perhaps you can also use the club's WhatsApp group to share the link to the Easy Speak page to call for, people to take up roles. It's much more
Thank you.
immediate. And you can send as many reminders as you wish. Because
Thank
see,
you.
sometimes people see emails, sometimes they don't. Sometimes emails are hard to miss, but not WhatsApp messages. So that's what I use for my home club. Like for
Thank
us, WhatsApp is the sole method of communication. In our part of the world, people are not that hot on emails already. So perhaps you can use that to augment your current method of approaching members. Although we end up with a full agenda every time, so that's not a great concern, but perhaps WhatsApp will help you fill the agenda even quicker. So it's just something to consider. And
President,
yeah.
timer, evaluator, and VPE coach. Thank you very much for that
Oh my
advice.
God. Well, all right. Thank you so much. So with that, we bring this last meeting to an end, but not before doing our giveaways. And today, our first giveaway will be to someone who joined the meeting at the very end. But we'd certainly like, since we are so generous, we'd like to call on guest Kader Hussain. And ask him what he's taking away from this meeting.
Thank you so much. As I become a little late because I sleep unintentionally. I was waiting for the meeting, but I sleep unintentionally. I really like to be part of your Zoom meeting all the time. I have discussed with Cynthia today that I don't know that what is the procedure of your meeting. First, I would like to know about it, that how you evaluate a speaker, what a speaker is speaking and what they are talking about. So I'm in learning process.
All right. So yeah, the best way to learn is, of course, to witness the meetings themselves. And I imagine myself, because I was once in your place when I attended my first Toastmasters meeting. It came across to me as something so impossibly complex. There were so many moving parts, and everybody was doing something different. People were writing mysterious notes, and it was an in-person meeting. So what was happening was that there was a whole panel of people who was looking at the speaker and then doing something like this and writing something like this. So only it took me like 6 or 7 meetings to fully understand the flow of a Toastmasters meeting. But back then, we did not have as many materials from Toastmasters themselves and guides as we do today, number one. Number two, we did not have the facility of recorded meetings, which we do today. So you can find out about our club's YouTube channel, where you find the entire recording of the meeting. And I'm sure that if you will see even one recording from start to finish, you will understand the flow of the meeting. Thirdly, you can see our agenda. That's also very helpful. And of course, fourthly, I have shared my cell number with you. You can reach out to me or Cynthia or anyone to find out more about how Toastmasters works. So, all right. So what would you like to drink right now? Because that's what we are giving in today. Would you like to have a drink? Anything? Which is legal in Pakistan, of course.
Thank you so much.
All right. So yeah, it's about 2 a.m. here. So perhaps it's best not to drink anything. Otherwise, we'll spend the rest of the night just shuttling between the washroom and our beds. So yeah, not a good idea. So, all right. So since we are just 2 minutes away from the end of the meeting, I'd just like one more volunteer who would like to share with us what they're taking away from this meeting today. Anyone? Oh, anyone? Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Toastmaster Lydia, please go ahead.
As I was just sitting here, this has been my, I think, maybe 4th Leaders Worldwide meeting. And every time I just love it here. And I am so thankful to be a part. I love the feedback. And yeah, I'm just thankful.
Wow, and we are equally grateful to have you with us, because that's the beauty of Toastmasters. Every new member, they bring in something different and they end up changing our life as much as we. So what would you like to drink? And it's not bedtime for you.
Let's see.
You don't live in Pakistan, so let your imagination run wild.
We do a Thai tea, green Thai tea. It is good.
How do you make that so that I can make that for you?
It is a Thai tea that's made with green tea.
All right. So yeah, it's coming your way. I'm throwing it your way. So please catch it and enjoy it.
Thank you.
So with that, it's exactly 2 a.m. in the morning. here, and I believe it's 1 p.m. At in San Francisco right now, and it was our last meeting for the year. And what can I say? It's been such an amazing journey in the year so far. This festive season, Christmas is coming up, and there's a journal cheer in the year, whether one celebrates Christmas or does not. And as let me add something personal here that it's Christmas means a lot to myself as well, because we believe as Muslims, we believe in Jesus Christ as one of the prophets. We believe in him as much as the Christians do, and as people of other faith do. So he's our prophet too. Yes, there's a whole lot of debate whether it was December 25 or some other date. That's irrelevant. We are celebrating the very idea, the very glory of a person. Even if you do not have faith in Jesus at all, even then, we all can agree to celebrate the goodness, the kindness that he represents, right? So it's such a beautiful time of the year, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, where it's mostly winter, and winter is my favorite season of the year. So, and we are ending the year on such a high note. So my sincere gratitude to each and every one of you, and my sincere wishes and love. And see you on the other side in a new year with a whole lot of New Year's resolutions, and perhaps in a much better world, because that's what I can hope. So with that, it's goodbye from my side. Thank you so much, and you're free to, I believe, stop the recording, and anyone, if they want to share anything or say anything, you can go ahead.
Happy holidays,
night,
everyone.